Hello, Boldarians, and welcome back to Boldly Becoming, the space where we talk about living boldly, walking in purpose, and answering the call on your life. So I am your host, Kennyetta, and today we're not starting with theory. We are starting with testimony because February was not just months of conversations, but it was months of embodiment. I keep saying months like it was plural. Like February did seem like it was a lot going on in such a short period of time, but it was a month full of honoring myself in ways that were quiet, intentional, and can I say deeply personal. I completed my annual personal self-love retreat, a tradition I began creating for myself as a way to pause, reflect, and return to who I am without the noise of the world telling me who to be. It was extravagant. It wasn't performative. It was sacred. It was choosing myself, sitting with myself, listening to God, and honoring the woman I am becoming with presence instead of pressure. And during that same month, beginning of this month, I ran my 10K race. Not to prove anything, I did not do it to perform strength, but to really honor my body and honor the body that didn't end at the finish line. It continued in my recovery, in my stretching, in me slowing down, in my listening, because becoming isn't just about pushing yourself. It's about caring for yourself when no one is watching. And February was also the month I began preparing to step into something new. My first invitation to speak at a Women's Day event in my hometown, at the church that helped shape my foundation. To be invited back into a space that poured into me not as the woman I was, but as the woman I've become. It was humbling and reminded me that obedience doesn't just take you forward. Sometimes obedience brings you full circle so you can see clearly how far God has brought you. And in the middle of all of that, I took one of the biggest creative risks I've taken with this podcast. Episode 24, Healing the Seeds, a dramatic auto-narrative, a story, an experience, not just words, but embodiment. And I want to pause right here to honor the voices who helped bring that vision to life. Zuma, Kiana, Claire, who stuffed it at the last minute, mind you, and Demola, thank you for trusting the vision. Thank you for lending your voices to something sacred. And thank you so much for helping me expand what boldly becoming can be. That episode required vulnerability, leadership, faith, and risk. And that's what February was. It was a month of risk, a month of obedience, a month of honoring the becoming. And as we close out Black History Month and reflect on Valentine's Day, a day centered for love, I found myself reflecting not just on love received, but on love embodied. Love for my ancestors, love for my calling, love for my body, love for my voice, love for my becoming. And today, we're going to talk about what February taught me and what it might be teaching you too. So, this month began with a conversation about receiving love. Not earning it, not performing for it, receiving it. And what I realized is this: receiving isn't passive. Receiving is courageous because receiving requires you to stop surviving long enough to experience presence. My self-love retreat was not about isolation. It was about reception, receiving clarity, receiving rest, receiving truth, receiving myself without distraction. And sometimes the hardest person to receive love from is yourself. But becoming requires it. Now, this month was also Black History Month, and we honored inherited love. Not just the love spoken, but the love endured, the love that carried us here. And as I reflect on my ancestors, I realize something deeply personal. I am not starting from scratch. I am continuing something that is sacred. Their endurance gave me the opportunity to choose healing. Their survival gave me the opportunity to choose presence. Their obedience gave me the opportunity to choose purpose. And that perspective changes how you carry yourself. because you realize your becoming is not isolated, it is connected. Now, episode 24, we talked a little bit about it just a few moments ago, but it was more than an episode. It was a leap. It required me to trust myself creatively, to lead others, and to step outside of what was familiar to me. And what I learned is this: growth will ask you to risk being seen in ways you've never been seen before. It will ask you to trust your vision before you have proof. It will ask you to lead before you feel ready. But obedience doesn't require certainty. It requires willingness. And that episode reminded me, and hopefully it reminded you, that cycles don't break automatically. They break when we stop watering what hurts us and start nurturing what heals us. Later this month, we talked about worth, not as something you chase, but as something you honor. Preparing to speak at my Women's Day event reminded me of that, because the invitation wasn't asking me to become worthy, it was recognizing who had already become through obedience. And that's when I realized worth isn't proven, worth is recognized. Recognized by others, recognized by God, recognized by yourself. And becoming requires you to live from worth, not toward it. And as Valentine's Day passed, I reflected on love in a different way, not just romantic love, but embodied love. Love for my body, love for my calling, and love for my growth. Because love is not just something you wait to receive from others, it is something you practice within yourself. Every time you honor your rest, every time you honor your voice, every time you honor your becoming, that is love. So let me ask you, Bodarian, what did February ask of you? Did it ask you to rest, to release, to risk, to trust yourself, to honor yourself in ways you never had before? And more importantly, did you listen? Because becoming is not about perfection, it's about presence. So as we close, I want you to remember this. Becoming is not always loud. Sometimes becoming looks like rest. Sometimes becoming looks like risk. Sometimes becoming looks like obedience when no one else understands. February reminded me that honoring yourself is not selfish. It is stewardship. Stewardship of your body, stewardship of your voice, stewardship of your calling. And as we step into March, I am not stepping forward as someone trying to become worthy. I'm stepping forward as someone honoring what God has already named worthy. And you can do the same. If you missed any of February episodes, or if one of them spoke to you in a way you need to hear again, I invite you to go back and replay them. Sometimes the second listen is where the truth settles deeper. And if these conversations blessed you, share them with someone in your life who needs to be reminded of their worth, their healing, and their becoming. You never know who might need that reminder today, because we do not become boldly alone. So until next time, keep growing, keep honoring, and keep becoming and showing up boldly. Bye for now.